Bill.
Yeah.
I have the headphones on, and I can't not hear you peeing.
You can't not hear me?
Yeah.
Does this work as a double?
We have our intro.
It's just Bill pissing in the background. Hello and welcome to the Invincible Podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is episode 8, and we are going to be discussing all about issue 129, the newest issue to just come out. I'm Ryan Sidoti, and joining me today is TJ Deween.
What's up?
And Bill Hake.
Hello again.
We are recording on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Bill.
Thank you very much, and happy Father's Day to all of our father listeners out there.
This was actually a very appropriate issue, I found, to be talking about today. There's a lot of fathers
There's a
and
lot
grandfathers.
of fathers in it,
You okay?
Okay.
Snorting a little cocaine.
Just curious. Okay,
It's gonna be a good one.
I'm gonna sniff, and then I'm gonna cover my nose and sniff and see if it changes the sound.
Because
of the
I was
sniff.
trying not to pick it up, and then you guys just put me on blast in front of everybody.
So has anything new happened in the world of Invincible? I mean, Ottley was at Vegas.
He was also...
Comic-Con.
There was another one, too, that he was at. Since our last...
Yeah, I mentioned it on the last
episode.
New Reader.
He had some awesome ones he posted today.
Today was a lot of
Oh my God, he
Walking
posted
Dead.
so many fucking
He's done a lot of
sketches.
zombie sketches since being in Vegas. He did a zombie Invincible. He did a zombie Joker, and he just posted a zombie Harley Quinn,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
And then there was another Harley Quinn, so I'm expecting him to get a lot
How are
of
these Harley Quinn? Would you?
There's no, like... There is
you-
one of her, like, looking back from behind, but her ass isn't in it, so it's not...
Aw,
Yeah.
Ryan. Otley.
I was like, what? That
Not
wasn't
you.
me.
No.
My commission sketch would be, like, draw
Just
Eve.
your best ass.
With like that dolphin alien's ass with like the four asses.
Four asses. Yeah.
The teacher.
That's what I like. That's what I'm into.
So from an issue standpoint,
What did you think?
I thought extremely eventful.
Yes.
Yeah?
I think we have a lot to talk about today.
We have a lot
Let's
to talk about.
okay. Well, then
We
let's
should
start
start in chronological order of things.
Yeah, I think we will.
Right.
Let's start with the cover. I thought the
Yes.
cover is awesome. I love this cover.
in
Fucking
the
love Thrag, man.
in the last episode that we did together, the last new issue episode, we all agreed that it wasn't even a question. Oh, Thrag is on the cover. He's going to be very prominent in the next issue. He was in one square.
We even talked about him potentially even being the
He's
entire
in a
issue.
panel.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
He was
Yeah,
in
he was in
one
one
square.
panel.
Yeah.
I mean, his kids are in some, but yeah. But
Typical,
regardless,
typical,
amazing,
typical though. You know,
amazing
what I mean?
cover.
In terms of yeah, no,
The coloring on it is awesome too.
It is so good, and seeing Battle Beast still hurts my feelings. Avenge him, someone.
That's great. All right, so it starts off with
On an alien planet.
wrong.
Wrong?
That's Earth. It starts off on Earth, and Rex, robot, is talking to Nolan, and basically saying, look what they've done. They've set us back years, and this was a war unlike anything we've ever seen, and how now they'll get the chance to rebuild it stronger and make it better. And he's convincing Nolan to kill this guy, to kill this,
He's
to
one
kill
of the,
the threat.
He's one of the dimension. He's one of the things that helped Angstrom Levy rebuild Angstrom Levy from a different dimension.
Yes. So
How do you know that? How do you know that this is Earth though?
I think it's assumed. We saw Earth at the end of last panel. We saw that they were being invaded by something. And then when Mark goes back to Earth and talks to him with Tara and everything, they talk about, sorry, there's been a communications issue. You know about the war that happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Earth, and Earth is essentially destroyed.
Decimated.
Yeah.
Decimated.
On page 1, when Robot was talking, at the bottom one, he says, look at that monster. Look at what he's done. He has poisoned himself and drained countless worlds to stay alive. I'm thinking, this is my moment. Angstrom Levy is about to fucking make his return.
No.
I thought it was going to be him.
Did you really?
Yeah, I thought he was talking about how he, went to all these different dimensions and kind of collected.
I actually thought that it was going to be, what is his name? See if you remember him. He's kind of obscure. I think it's Omnipotus. He kind of looks like Galactus. He's this, skull face. He's early on in issues. He only makes an appearance every once in a while. But anyways, yeah, kind of obscure villain. He came from another dimension and he devours worlds or whatever. Anyways, so I did a little bit of research on everything we've seen from the Technicians. So Bill, you're right. The first time we see them is actually issue 60, which is the Invincible War, which starts off with Angstrom, sending all the Invincibles to Earth to attack, to sully Invincible's name. And it starts off with a flashback of Mark walking away after killing Angstrom, assuming.
And them coming to...
And then Angstrom, opening up a portal and saying, fix me. And it's these guys that are there to fix him. And he later tells Mark that, what, did you not think that I had a dimension on standby that could repair me? Yeah, they were the smartest, best doctors in all of the dimensions.
So a different dimension.
Yes, no, you're right. This guy is from a different dimension, but I don't think they're on a different dimension. They're on Earth.
I guess you're right.
So
it was just very not, specific.
Yeah.
Because even when he said...
Yeah. Well, he comes back, and then he... it shows, the Technicians in the background when Angstrom is sending all the Invincibles to attack. But then after Angstrom gets away, when his arm gets cut off from the portal, when Oliver's begging Mark to kill him, just kill him already. Angstrom shows back up to the Technicians in their dimension and says, hurry up and fix me. I need to get back. I need to keep going. And they say no. They say, let's see here. Promises were made, Angstrom Levy. You gave us assurances. We had a deal and you failed. You do not get a second chance. You do not get to give orders. You work for us now. And we don't see Angstrom or the Technicians again until issue 98.
When he's killed.
No, when Mark
107.
He shows back up. And he's saying, it's this full page spread of him saying, I must have my revenge. I've waited long enough. And the Technicians do something to him and, fry his brain for a second and say, do not forget who's in control here, Angstrom. These outbursts will not be tolerated. And Angstrom just goes on to say, I have done everything for you. I've traveled through dimensions and giving you everything to build a perfect world. So he basically went through all these dimensions and he says, what else do you want from me? I gave you everything. You have limitless resources. He made these guys super powerful. And then they say, all right, well, we're done with you. You can go back. The Technicians have no further use of you. And then Angstrom shows back up on Earth. And that's during the battle of Dinosaurus and Invincible in issue 100. And then, things go on with Angstrom. But that's the last we see of the Technicians. So the Technicians were empowered by Angstrom, given, so they basically have the technology or had the technology of multiple dimensions that Angstrom gave them to make them this strong. And I honestly forgot all about that. I had to go back and look at that because it was so small. It's subtle, but... So they say, Robot says, this was a war unlike anything we've ever seen. What did you guys think of this? I mean, Nolan goes on to kill who we assume to be the last Technician, ending the war. What do you guys think of this?
In terms of Robot, maybe not brainwashing Nolan, but
they're working together.
I think he had a good point. Why leave him alive?
But he had. That's kind of Robot's story, and that's been his story for the past 20 issues. Is that he does have a good point, and Nolan's just like everybody else is starting to kind of see his point and see and kind of.
He said they're friends. Later in the issue, he told Mark, he's over the past 5 years, we've worked together on a lot of things, and he's...
It's not out of character for Nolan. I mean, he grew up with a Voltramite background, and his...
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong at all for killing him. Obviously, he destroyed Earth. I mean, we do
From a hero standpoint, I think he's wrong for killing him. I think that him killing this guy is representing the fact that okay, Robot is really in his head.
Mm-hmm. But that's the gray lines that Invincible. That's what makes Invincible good. Is putting heroes in impossible decisions.
Right.
Like this guy cannot go on living. I mean, do you do the thing where you this was the whole issue 50 disagreement between Invincible and Cecil. Do you leave somebody alive that could be further use? Like, could this guy have gone on to be good, but after everything's done, does he deserve to die? I mean,
would Invincible have killed him?
Oh, probably not. I don't know.
That's especially
after
the point that I'm making is the fact of it's not like Nolan's not
it's like killing
a villain, but he's not this. Nolan's not a villain, but this issue was trying to get the point across that he's also not a hero.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's doing what he views needs to be done.
So is Robot.
Yeah.
Is Robot a villain? Yeah. He's kind of the villain.
That's what I was just gonna say. Would you agree? Would you guys agree that Robot's extremely manipulative? And he plays chess. He doesn't play checker. He plays chess. So this moment right here, listen to this. All right. Now we'll rebuild what they've destroyed, stronger, better. We'll see how this. You'll see how this event will bring this entire planet together. That's why it confused me. But anyways. This will unite us, make us greater than we ever were, and we'll be able to rebuild the world we'll be able to build the world we now deserve.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that he somehow instigated this war to get Nolan on his side to destroy the world how he wanted to rebuild it how he's saying? He could have instigated it.
He could have. I don't think that we'll get that answer.
We do know that Robot. I mean, they went after Angstrom. Remember? So I wouldn't put it past Robot being able. Yes, but I wouldn't put it past Robot being able to find this other dimension.
There you go.
Robot killed who?
Angstrom. Didn't he chop his head off?
Yeah.
Yeah, with a sword arm thing.
Oh yeah.
But there you go. That further so Robot knows that the technicians exist because they've never been shown to anyone before. And
we don't know
what would they want with Earth? What would they want with Earth?
We don't know. So this is what I was kind of getting at when I asked you what you thought of this is really vague. I mean, so this is a war unlike anything we've ever seen. Well, that's convenient that we didn't even see it and we can't see it because it's already happened. We don't know how the technicians came. We don't know a lot about this. And I mean, I like the fact that this puts us in a place where now Earth can be rebuilt. I like Robot and Rex as a character as I honestly think he is doing what he thinks is good. I think that the people he killed in doing so was wrong, but I think that I don't think that he instigated this. I think that he is genuine in thinking I just think about, remember the issue after all that went on with, it was probably 115 or so, and it started off with William, saying how great everything is. Crime has dropped almost completely. Everything has gotten so much better. And
yeah, but with that, there's always a cost that you don't know.
It hasn't shown. There's always that thing where Lex Luthor and the villain always thinks he's the good guy. But what if he is?
But that goes back to, I mean, we've been saying this for 20 plus issues. That's kind of Robot's story. And
exactly, that's what Invincible is doing. Is it's shaking up the norm.
But I guess I'm agreeing with both of you. He's doing what he thinks is best, but he'll manipulate people to do what he thinks is best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be.
I'm not
sure. Small
I'm not so sure he's manipulating though.
You could be right. I think he is because it really, he was there with Invincible. He was in that other dimension. He knew that the technicians existed and why. And think about this. So he even said we can rebuild the world we now deserve. Mm-hmm. And remember the very infamous issue we always talk about when it's going to come up, the future issue?
Yeah, and now maybe it's going to look like this.
Technologically advanced. This could be it.
It could be the start of that, yeah.
This could be it. And then, I mean, there seem to be rebellions going on and everything like that, so Robot could have very much lost his way.
And remember the guards guarding the King Immortal were robots?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really look like Robot, but yeah, that was years in the future.
So I think we're getting there. But I think Robot instigated it because look at him.
My thing with that is, and we're going a little long on this. We'll move on to the next thing. But my thing with him instigating it and him manipulating people is, since killing everybody and since he's revealed his motives as being hey, I want to actually make the world a better place. What has he done bad? You know what I mean? He hasn't. We haven't seen. If you're saying he's playing chess, we haven't seen his move yet. We haven't seen the point in which he's like,
Monster Girl.
but that was during all of that. That was him weeding out the people that he knew would oppose him.
Right, so he's doing things that are wrong in order to do what he thinks is best.
Yeah.
What he thinks.
But
What he
say
thinks
doing trying to accomplish what he thinks is best is one thing. But then doing wrong to achieve that is
I agree.
a completely different
No.
thing. I think he's doing both.
Yeah.
He's still doing wrong, but he's doing wrong to achieve what he thinks is best.
You guys know that Dinosaurus did the same
Yes.
exact
Yes.
fucking thing.
And Robot,
he-
I think Robot brought that up to him. He was like, you worked with dinosaurs. This is what you originally wanted.
Yeah.
And like when he was trying to reason with Mark, I don't know.
Dinosaurs.
Would you say he's killing 1 to 100?
Oh, nice. Nice.
So, all right, moving on from that, we get to see Alan. Alan's in a hospital bed.
Fucking hilarious.
It's not as
My
bad as it
God.
looks, honest. So, no arms, no legs, face completely bandaged up. Yeah. So we know he's fine, which I don't think there was ever a doubt. One thing was when Mark was talking to Alan about, who could have done this? Why would she do this? The big takeaway from this scene was
Oliver.
yeah, Oliver's expression. I mean, that's very intentional of the artist. Alan saying, her plan was to replace me with someone who could take Thrag down, and then like showing Oliver looking off to the side, kind of like he was kind of in on this. Maybe he knew a little bit about what was going on. Maybe he was part of the plan to get Alan out. I don't know, but I think that look means something, and we don't know yet. But it's also, a good nod back to, 2 issues ago or whatever, when it was like, hey, because we haven't seen anything from him talking to Thrag. We've got nothing on that storyline so far. But it was a nice little, hey, remember this. So.
And then all of our hearts are torn out of our fucking chests when we see this jacked motherfucker walk in.
With long hair, like...
Oh my god, look at him. He's like a specimen. Like,
So, last
Did we talk
new
about,
issue, last new issue episode that we did, we talked about how we read voices and how that girl, the villain of the, does he have like a kind of like a surfer dude?
Yeah, that's what
He's
that's-
kind of like a surfer bodybuilder, yeah.
That's how he talks. And come on, man.
No, I don't think of him as
hey.
like. I don't think of him like that.
I do. That's how I read him.
I don't know.
Just a total douchebag.
But
not
this-
that surfers are douchebags.
This is the
if you're
first. This
listening
is the
from
first time that I actually
Hawaii.
heard fucking his sister's voice. What's her name?
Talia?
Talia.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea you guys were here.
Well, when
Like,
she,
she's such
yeah,
a
when
fucking cunt in
when
this
when
one.
she like pops up at the door,
Excuse my language, but she is. Sorry, TJ. Did that offend you? She is, dude.
when she pops up at the door when Mark is talking to Oliver, that's when I was like, shit, like we've never seen that side of her before.
Yeah.
Like, well, then again, she's always yelling at Alan and bitching to him almost every single scene.
Yeah, but that seemed like but this scene.
Yeah.
She just look
So-
at her. She's even sipping a fucking latte in the background, like just watching him argue.
Oh yeah.
Look at her.
Well, content wise, what'd you guys think? He shows up, Eve storms out.
The best part was fucking Tara saying, "Bye, no arms, Alan."
Oh yeah.
was
Tara was hilarious. Again, this entire
Oh,
issue,
God,
Tara's
she's
just the
so
best.
cute.
What I liked about him was the fact that there was more to that story than we thought that there was.
Yeah, we assumed, like, I'm trying to remember what we said. We assumed,
Like-
oh, maybe he didn't treat her right. Maybe
Yeah.
he beat her. Maybe, like, we were thinking all these different edgy, things that he could have done or that didn't work out. Maybe he died. But no, like, and it makes so much
It was
sense.
the fact that she was so hung up on her.
Well,
know.
it's, what does he call it? Archaic familial obligation. Jeez. Archaic familial obligation.
Familial.
It was about Tara.
Yeah. It's about, like,
Yeah.
he views Eve as another alien, and humans, they take care of their offspring, whereas obviously their race, they don't. They have no patience for children, Talia says. And so he was basically saying, he gave Eve the choice, it's either me or the girl. And that was it. That,
What a cock. I'm gonna read this. Mark takes the high ground. This guy fucked.
oh yeah, like, hey,
Fucked Eve for
which who knows? We know how they screw. I mean, do you think, who knows what he did?
Who could have been way better than anything Mark ever did.
Well, he does
Well, he
insinuate.
says that. That's why he gets
But he
knocked
says-
out.
But I mean, Mark says, "Hi, I'm like," he's trying to take. I know who you are. And then he fucking says, "You want me to do this in front of him?" Fine. He's such a fucking dick. I hate him. I
Yeah.
hate him. You are a vibrant, energetic creature, and you deserve to be happy. It makes me ill to know you let archaic familial obligation weigh you down. You should live for you. And I know he can never make you feel the way that I...
Yeah.
And he gets knocked out.
Which is awesome.
With Tara Booyah in the background. Fucking Tara.
But then, like, it's very cinematic. The fact that, like, he gets knocked out and the next panel is, like, moments later, Tara retelling the story.
Oh, I loved it so much.
He was saying a bunch of words that I couldn't understand, and then
he said it, said. Like, Mark's sitting there, like, correcting her grammar. It was awesome. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
So, yeah, and then we get Talia telling Mark, like, hey, you know, Eve was too attached to your little monster. You know, Kubian thought she was in the way because she is. Our people have no patience for children. She made her choice and she didn't choose him. So
when Oliver...
Oliver, his arms are the size of, like, his entire body.
Yeah, when Oliver and Mark fight, it is going to be gut-wrenching. Because Oliver
you're right. I didn't even realize that might happen.
It's gonna happen because he's still he's an uncle to this girl. Like he's an uncle to her.
He's more of a father.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. He's more of a father to Talia or to Tara.
They're probably gonna fight, but I mean, we don't know why Oliver's doing what he's doing. He's gonna have a reason.
After you talked about the panel of his face, like, I had something to do with it, is because he's a Viltrumite. And he probably wanted to do breeding. He probably wants to take Thrag down. He's probably playing both sides.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
You think he was kind of feeling guilty for what he did to Alan?
He wanted to take Alan out of position so he could take Thrag down, and he's pretending to be on Thrag's side so that when he does, you know what I mean? So that's going to be like an intense situation because, I mean, look at the way that Tara looks at him and the way that he looks at her. Ugh. That's going to be... There she is. Eve, love my brother. They're a god for each other.
I love when Eve shows up at the end of that scene and was like, can we go? And Mark just says, yeah, let me say goodbye to Alan. Tara, did you kill that guy? Everything she says is just great.
I know.
I liked seeing the, moving on, I liked seeing the progression shots of Alan in bed, like recovering quickly. And we get to see that, you know, okay, it's only been a matter of days, not weeks, for him to heal up, and which covers, you know, so he'll be fine by the time Mark gets back to Earth, you have to assume. So by the end of this issue, you have to assume that Alan is up and walking. This last panel in which Oliver's talking to him and telling him about how Thrag is actually making real progress and he's starting to worry. Do you think Alan is actually going to keep those scales?
No, I think he's gonna.
Or is that part of just the?
He's gonna lose it. I
think that's part of the healing. I wasn't sure. It kind of reminded me of a very dark side thing, TJ. Right? Like, you know,
bones.
You kind of you break something or you cut him and it just grows back stronger and then it'll just grow back with scales and it'll grow back to stone and then
that's kind
evolves.
of what.
We've made those comparisons to Ellen before, so that's why that's the only reason why I thought it. I'm not sure it will stay. It does kind of look like it's part of the healing process, but who knows? It might stick around. It might not.
Swash. Fucking his two prime children.
Yeah, so we get Anin, I think his name is.
Anin, I think, is, first of all, an awesome name. I don't know why I love that name, but really? I think that's awesome. And he's just ripping motherfuckers apart. In the very first panel of the page where we first see him,
I think it's Anon.
I laughed.
Anon.
Maybe.
Huh? Yeah.
I laughed out loud just because of the alien that's running from him. I think it just looks really funny.
Matt, our friend, read it, and he was sitting on the couch reading it, and he just chuckled out loud. And I was like, what? And he's like, this alien running away. It just made him laugh. He's just ripping people in half.
I like characters like this. I think I'm going to like...
Well, you did. I mean, back when Oliver was going through his, why not just kill everybody phase.
Yeah, I don't know. I love characters like that.
So, Ursul stopping him, keeping him from just ripping people in half for no reason. I mean, why is he doing this? Just because...
he said why. He wants to make them fear them even
He's
further.
Young. He doesn't know how to conquer. He's learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of not sticks up for him, but doesn't kind of blow him in.
Oh, yeah.
So, he gives kind of a facial expression of how guilty he feels.
Mm-hmm.
When Thrag shows up and says, is there a problem here? And she kind of looks at him. He looks guilty and says, oh, no, there's no problem here.
So what do you think this is showing? Is this showing that there's like trouble in the ranks? Are you showing that like, or is this kind of just giving us character development for
Shows how
Ursula?
brutal
I think-
he is going to be. He's going to be a loose cannon.
I think it's showing character development for these two characters, Anand and Ursula. Mm-hmm. It's showing that they're. I mean, there's tons of them, but these two particular, they already feel very brother and sister to me.
Yeah.
I think that they're more connected to each other than they are to any of their other brother and sisters.
Yeah, and these are the two that were on the cover. These are the two that
Right.
we've seen before. I mean,
They're going
these
to
do
start
seem
building
like the first in
these two
command.
characters, which I'm excited to see what goes on with them, especially Anand.
And again, like I said in the beginning, this is very much an issue of children. As we move on, now we get
Children are very. You can manipulate children, or they grow into their own minds. Maybe one of them becomes good in the future. That's way down the line.
oh yeah,
But
then again, these
Maybe.
ones do grow fast.
yeah,
So
I do love how generational this book is because, I mean, if you think about it, Mark started out as a teenager.
yeah, in high
And
school.
now he's a dad and has a 5-year-old. And, like, you know that these kids are going to eventually grow up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I love the way
Yeah.
that the time
Passes in
progresses in this and how real all the relationships are. I love this shot of
So
no
we're
one hugging Mark
yeah.
like that.
So we've got Mark. Mark showed up. He's on the moon. He's back at the Viltrumite. It looks like station camp, whatever you'd call it. And Nolan shows up and grabs Mark like that. Yeah. Again, some Tara. I like seeing the grandfather. This is the first time we get to see Nolan acting like a grandfather. Tara's talking about how Mark takes her flying and not as high as you. You scare me. And he's
So
like,
obviously Eve has gone back to
So
Earth.
yeah, so this is confirmation that
Yeah.
Tara knows her grandparents. I mean, chances are they've gone to Earth, or at least Nolan's gone to the Coalition. But Nolan's probably hasn't gone to the Coalition if he's managing the Viltrumites at Earth. But yeah, Tara's probably been to Earth. Eve has gone to Earth since.
or they've gone to her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But is it likely that Nolan would leave the Viltrumites on Earth? I mean, maybe if he goes away for a little bit. Who knows? I mean, I guess it takes a few days to travel there. But yeah, like I was saying, like I like seeing Nolan, telling Tara like, I want you to be strong, Peanut. I scare you so that you can learn to overcome that fear. If you do everything slowly, you'll always be scared.
I think when she gets her powers, she's going to be fucking crazy. It's going to be something nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to have a pretty awesome hybrid of
Between
Eve's,
Mark and Eve?
Yeah, Eve's
I can't
power.
even imagine. I don't know what.
I mean,
it
maybe
would
not,
be.
because Viltrumite DNA is so strong that it could just completely overpower. And Eve was genetically modified, so maybe, right? Maybe she's
Yeah,
maybe
but it's
she
still
would
in her.
be able
But
to
it's still in her
transfer-
DNA. You'd think.
Yeah,
It's not like Rex where it was augmented. It's actually in her DNA.
yeah.
If death was a temperature, that's what this room would be right now.
You think it's that hot
I
already?
don't think
Fucking
so.
dying
I
right
think
now.
it's fine.
Ready? Now, when I recorded with Liz and Brittany, we still had like another half hour of this. That's why it got to the
We
point where.
aren't quite through this issue yet. So
No, but we're moving along. But yeah,
but
it
the
is.
next thing we gotta talk about is a good one.
Yeah, it's
All right. Well, before we get to that, we've got. We actually have a couple things. Yeah. Okay, so Mark and Nolan have their chat talking about how, talking about Rex, and Nolan says, Rex has a lot of wisdom. He's an ally to the Viltrumite Empire, and over time, yes, that alliance has grown into a friendship. I wish you could have seen all the good he'd accomplished before the war with the Technicians. So again, we don't have anything showing us what happened in these 5 years, but we do have. All we have is, Nolan saying, he's saying that it was the good that he's accomplished. Whether or not he's just saying that, we don't know. But
I like that too. That he's not keeping it a secret. He's saying me and him are friends, and
Yeah.
this is what's going on.
Well,
He's
he
being
defended
straight
him.
up and forward with him.
back when Robot took over, Mark got mad at him. That's one of the original reasons why he left. I mean, because Nolan was like, hey, we won't get in your way. You don't get in our way. We're just here to procreate and move on.
Right.
So, speaking of procreation and moving on, we get Anissa. Mark and Nolan's discussion is interrupted by Eve beating the shit out of Anissa.
two in one issue.
Yeah, she's just
Two alternate.
she's defending Mark.
Too much drama.
So
She's holding her back though. Like, is Eve that powerful? I was thinking about that after I read it, and I'm like, holy shit, Eve stood her own.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she wasn't really fighting back.
Well, yeah, we don't know how much Anissa was trying. I mean, even Mark says, like, don't do this. I don't want you killing someone or her killing you. And then, Eve says, after what she did to you, I can't let that go. And then Nolan immediately just grabs Anissa by the throat, holds her up, and says, what did you do to my son? And Mark stands up for her. Stands up for her. I mean, he just says she didn't do anything.
That's because he knew that he came to fruition.
I don't know. And he says Anissa didn't do anything. We got Anissa saying, now, there's 2 times that we get a little bit of what happened before Eve attacked. Right here, Anissa says, I just came to say, and then cut off. Nolan says, leave. Then, when Eve is talking to Mark about it afterwards, Eve says, she asked me where you were. She just asked me about you. I couldn't believe it. I just lost it. So all Anissa did was ask where he was. Do we think that, I'd like to think she's actually moved on. At this point, when I'm reading this, before I got to the end of this, I'm like, okay, maybe she's just kind of like saying, I thought that her intention was to go up to Mark and be like, hey, I just want to let you know, sorry about everything that happened. I've moved on. I know it's been a long time. I've met your daughter, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, I assumed it would have been something that, like, I didn't think she was still trying to get with him after 5 years.
I did.
You did?
I did, yeah. I didn't. Before, obviously, we read the rest of it. But
yeah, TJ, what did you think? Before we read the rest of it, what did you think? And did you think she was just trying to make another advance at Mark? Like, ask Eve where he was?
That Anissa was trying to get back with Mark? I mean...
Like, what was her intention of asking Eve where Mark was and trying to find him?
I think that she was going to kind of tell him the what we see on the last page.
So, well, that's why the next page...
She was never, like... Well, she was a villain. She did something very...
Oh, yeah, and she
bad.
kept forcing herself on him. Like, she kept, like, saying...
But now that she got her way, I don't know why she would be against...
Well, we get...
Invincible or be against...
Yeah, we get her flying back to her...
She got what she wanted.
Yeah, we get her flying back to her house, and she walks into the house, and you see her husband with their child, and immediately I'm like, oh, I was right. She did just want to tell him, hey, I've moved on. Are we cool?
Right.
That's what I thought. And then she says, are you awake? And I didn't want to turn the page.
Yeah, I knew what was happening. As soon as it showed her flying back, like, I thought that's what it was going to be. But I was kind of hoping it wasn't, because we were waiting for her to turn back up.
Yeah.
And the reason why we were waiting for her to turn back up is because in issue 111, the big deal was the fact, well, not the big deal, but
after
the ending of it was when she said, man up, it'll probably take a few times.
Well, because Mark says,
soon.
Yeah, because Mark says right before that, he's huffing, he's out of breath after the rape scene, and he says, I didn't, ? And he says, what did you, and then he says, man up, it'll probably take a few times.
Right, but her saying, it'll probably take a few times, I'll see you soon, means, oh, she's going to try it again.
Yeah, she does. She does. I mean, in issues after that, she says, not that issue, but, like, there are several advances that she makes on him. She's like, hey, how you doing? And she, like, she sees him in the hallway, and Mark freaks out on her, and then, there are several times with that. They don't go as far as she doesn't go as far to attack him again.
They don't end up having sex after that.
No.
One time worked.
Yes.
We were kind of expecting something more than that, than it just being like, we knew what the end game was probably going to be, and that's what it was. But I was expecting another, like, her to attack him again, or her to achieve something.
I feel like
again,
since that issue came out, I feel like within message boards and the community and everything like that, I think it was assumed that, like, well, it went back and forth. People would say, oh, no, nothing happened. Like, there's no way she's going to be pregnant. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if, because I fought this. I fought the fact that, like, he says he didn't finish. Like, this is, no. He says, I didn't. So what? Right. So I guess looking back, that's supposed to mean I didn't want that.
Yeah, that's exactly
I didn't want that.
But he obviously did not want it. But he
well, yeah, we see that now. I guess
if you look, I was just looking.
But then why did she say it would take a few times
to get pregnant?
You think so?
But it didn't. It only took her one time.
Right.
I just feel like between those two things, it was misleading, but intentionally. Kirkman does this as a surprise. We're supposed to be surprised, and that's what it is. I feel like this is I don't know.
Just makes so much sense because Kirkman wanted this
child to be this age,
Yeah.
not an infant. Like we essentially have a 5-year-old, yeah.
That looks like Mark.
He looks exactly
and
like
his
Mark.
His name is Marky.
I don't like that his name is Marky.
I know. She could have named him anything else, and we would have fucking.
Well, she assumes that he's gone, so and probably never going to see him again. So she just kind of names him after him in a way. Well, his name's Mark. She's probably calling him Marky. His name's probably is Mark.
She's got no ties to Mark though, or she was never in love with him. She never cared anything about him. So why name him Junior? You know.
Yeah.
And not only that, but her husband obviously knows that this is another man's child.
Well, obviously.
But they have a child of their own.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So, I mean, this isn't going to be a surprise to him. And another question, is he a Viltrumite? We don't know. He's not the...
We know nothing about him right now. We couldn't even speculate.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a mustache.
Good point.
Yeah. He's
So,
old as shit, though.
Yeah. I think it is kind of crazy how much Marky looks like Mark.
I think that was a point to say that this is Mark's child, in case you didn't fucking get it.
Yeah, it's definitely his.
Unless has got some boobies on her, too.
She's fucking hot.
Well, she has a newborn, too.
She snapped back really well.
So what,
baby weight.
but what I was saying earlier, like, we've got Mark coming back. He's missed out on being a father. The war on the technicians, like, Earth is destroyed, even though, I mean, we get to see this kind of countryside house, and this is still intact. I mean, obviously, it's not 100% destroyed. But I feel like it's kind of exhausting, everything that's going on.
There's so
like,
much.
Doesn't it kind of... I see this, and it's like, besides the fact of us believing whether or not she was going to be pregnant, I feel bad for Mark. Like, more than I normally do when that kind of stuff happens. Because this is like, he finally... All right, so Eve was with another guy, and it's like, okay, get over that. You know, we have to figure out how to deal with that. And Mark's struggling with that. Struggling with the fact that Tara's grown up without a father. He's missed... I mean, he saw Oliver and broke down crying because he's so much older now, and he didn't get to see him for 5 years. Like,
but he never did even before that anyways.
Oh, no, I know. But he's just
Oliver's
realizing how much he's missed. You know? And now not only that, but he's missed another child growing up. A child that he currently doesn't even know about. Illegitimately, you know. So now Eve, you know what I mean? So now her point of view, like, this is...
Can we go back to Tara's birth? When did that happen?
That was amazing. That was during the robot takeover, and he ripped her leg off.
That's right.
Mark flew into space, forced her to make a force field, even though it might injure the baby, but he said, you have to because you're going to die otherwise. Got to the Viltrumite ship and said, help us, to his dad. And then the next issue, it opens up on Mark, and he's sitting up against the wall, and someone walks up and says, would you like to hold her? And it's like, oh, because you didn't know she was going into labor at the time, and they saved the baby.
So he wasn't in the room when she gave birth.
We're unsure. That could have been him walking out after the birth. Why?
One thing oh, go ahead.
I don't know. He's very suspiciously the same age as Tara. And I'm not saying...
Are you thinking that maybe Anissa stole a twin off of the ship?
I'm not
during the
saying
birth?
that didn't happen. I'm not saying that it didn't not happen. I'm just saying that...
Hold on, I gotta think about this.
To all of our... Like, he said I didn't. Like, we couldn't have all just taken that as a mistake.
Here's the whole...
I didn't come.
I would like that because that would add another level of crazy to Anissa, and that would be awesome because that's what she wanted, and she got it, and she stole
Oliver
it.
said that...
But my problem with that
Mark said that he did. When he confessed to Eve, he said that he did.
No, he said that he didn't, like, hate that it happened.
Right,
At
but
the
I
time,
think that was him saying, like, we fucking...
Well, obviously they fucked, but I'm talking about, like, the panel that we're all talking about is him saying, I don't know, I didn't...
Yeah.
Like, ... And then her saying, it'll take a few times for me to rape you and for you to actually come.
Yeah.
That's how we all took it. That's how we all took it when you were
That's how I took it.
That he didn't finish?
Yeah.
I did not take it like that. Not at all. I think that she succeeded in that.
Oh, I was always...
I never even thought
then
the opposite.
Then she was like, oh, no, I know... us Viltrumites have a superpower to know exactly when your sperm penetrates an egg, and I know when I'm fucking pregnant. That's what she said by it'll take a few times? Or just like, I have to have... Man... the whole conversation doesn't really make sense unless it's about what me and Ryan are talking about, like him not being able to come because he was raped.
No, I think it takes a couple times to
get pregnant.
Yeah,
but she doesn't know.
If you have sex with a girl, being human in our everyday lives, one time ever, like it's not. Like, I would say the same exact thing. I would be like, but from it's probably going to take a couple times.
But from TJ's point of view or whatever on this, I mean, that's obviously what it is implied after all, because he did finish, and so maybe she is just saying, hey, it'll take a few times.
But what Bill is saying is that, no, he didn't finish, and Eve had twins, and that's one of Eve's children.
So, back with that, though,
I agree with that.
I love that. I think that would be awesome if she did steal, and this is actually a twin, and Mark has twins, which is really cool. But the problem with that is Eve was monitoring the baby. Like, they had a doctor come in and check up on her that knew about, like, superheroes with babies. She would know she was pregnant with twins.
I have a better question. Why would Anessa want Mark's kid? The whole reason was to repopulate. If there was going to be twins, why not a third child?
Yes, because she did not. She found it disgusting to mate with humans. That was the thing. She knew that she had to procreate.
But she wanted repopulation. That's the whole point of her doing this.
Oh, you're right, because it wouldn't be a pure Viltrumite baby. Yeah. It would be half Mark, half
I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, that's why I'm trying to think of the timing of Eve, of that whole thing. Where was Anessa, or Anissa, or whatever her fucking name is? Was she pregnant? You know what I mean? Like, the timing seems kind of... Like, the kid, he's obviously the same age as Tara. He looks the same age.
But it kind of happened around the same time.
It did.
Too.
Did it?
Wait, Eve getting pregnant?
Eve was pregnant.
No, she was pregnant way before. No, but yeah, they look the same age. But for all we know, he could be... Yeah, but...
She was, like, almost ready to fucking pop.
Yeah, but Tara could be 5 and he could be 4. Yeah.
He could be, like, 4.5. It was very close.
Yeah, it was probably
one thing I just noticed is if Marky ever meets Tara, they're going to have something in common.
Do they have the same shirt on?
Marky is wearing a frog shirt, and it looks like Tara's playing with a frog.
I was looking at something on this page because it looked familiar. Maybe it is the frog on their shirt. Interesting.
The little things.
So that's it. We'll see.
Very, very fucking eventful.
Very eventful, and again, full of kids.
Yeah.
Full of kids everywhere.
And the next issue is even...
We got Thrag's kids, we got Eve kids, we've got, Kubian breaking up with Eve because of kids. We've got granddads. We've got an illegitimate kid. We've got another baby of that person who got the illegitimate... Like, there's kids everywhere. Happy Father's Day.
Wow.
So, all right, next issue. Bill, you've been reading these. You want to read this one again?
Mark didn't want to ever return to Earth, but now he finds himself face to face with Robot. And no matter how hard he tries, he just can't forget all the evil he has done. This could get ugly.
Again, a cool-looking cover. Him faced off with Rex. All right, cool.
If he's so... Do you think that now it's going to happen? I think it's going to happen now.
What's going to happen?
The future issue, because he said he left Earth. He said he left Earth, right? He's back on Earth.
Yeah.
Something crazy could happen, and he could leave Earth again, and that's when he meant that he left Earth. Not the other.
Oh yeah, right now is
100 times that he left Earth, but this time,
because Immortal said in that issue that you took your family and you left, but he also said, "Are you still sick?"
He could get sick in this issue.
But then again, he could be remembering the time that he was sick because it's been so many years, and what's a couple years that could be jumbled together. And he remembers Mark being sick at one point, which he was. But then again, we know that the virus is still out there.
I really think that's going to make
a triumphant return.
Last podcast that we did, the new issue podcast, I brought it up, but we didn't expand on it. I don't know if you guys heard me talking about the last page of the last issue, where it showed Nolan, and it looked like he was tweaked out, and we were looking at his eyes. I was like, he looks a little infected. I thought that might be a possibility.
Another thing, like when we were talking about why he looked so different, is I always thought he had the handlebar mustache. He doesn't. No, it's normally just the mustache. Yeah. Now it's the gray and the handlebar. It wasn't just the gray, but the handlebar looks good. Yeah.
Another thing Robot could be doing. He could be. Does Robot know about the The scourge, the scourge, the scourge, scourge,
Yeah.
scourge virus.
I don't know, probably because remember he knew that Mark was sick, so he has to know about it from back then.
That was on.
Back when Mark was sick, he knew that Mark was sick.
How? When?
Because when he was on Earth and sick, when Bulletproof was invincible.
You're right.
I gotta reread all of that.
All right.
So we'll see. I'm not sure I like that. I'm okay with the virus being introduced again, but the fact that we're going to get another plan to eliminate all the Viltrumites with the virus again, like we did that already. We tried that before.
They are a threat that Robot would not be able to control, and he's all about control.
I think we need it to come up in this. We need Alan to say something like, we're all out of the Scourge virus, or we lost the recipe. We lost, we can't do that again. Or
if we found a way to contain it.
Yeah, they need to bring it up.
X-Men 3. They start shooting motherfuckers with syringes and
the cure. The fucking cure.
the cure.
Yeah.
You find Olaf from fucking Running Scared. Was that his name? Olaf?
Oh, the boy.
No, that's the fucking snowman. No, was it Olaf?
Yeah, that was his
Olaf.
name.
Olaf, yeah, from Running Scared, yeah. That little fucking kid. He was in a lot of movies around the same time, and he annoyed
disappeared.
He had the same face. We should do it. Anton.
Yeah. That really
Sad.
sucks.
Yeah.
Anton Yelchin was one of our, the three of ours favorite actors, and he passed away. We just found out the day that we're recording this, Sunday the 18th.
Somebody on Twitter.
Very sad.
Somebody on Twitter mentioned to see one of his movies because it was his best work, and I hadn't heard of that movie.
Do you remember what it was?
I forgot what it was called. Something. Do you know it? It's
my favorite movie with him in it is The Beaver with Mel Gibson. Also Charlie Bartlett. If you haven't seen
Charlie fucking Bartlett.
Those movies are like amazing. Yeah. He's known for Star Trek because that's probably the biggest movie he's done.
Oh, Alpha Dog. That's the one.
What
Dog was fucking
Remember
amazing.
The ending where he got he got killed at the end of that movie.
I didn't know that was the first movie I saw with him in it, and him. You should cut that out. Him at the end, his acting ability was amazing. The fact that he
dies at the end.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the ending.
Alpha Dog. Well, because he's like a good friend with him, and then all of a sudden
that movie's
they turn
so
on him.
old. I mean,
No.
Dude, I'm surprised I saw Alpha Dog. It had fucking Justin Timberlake in it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Emil Hirsch. That was a fucking...
So sad. I'm hurt. I am hurt at that because he's such a fucking good actor.
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was talking to you guys via text that he's gonna absolutely, or was going to...
Yeah, he was going to be awesome.
Do something phenomenal.
He really was.
Yeah.
He was.
What a
but honestly,
fucking
even if he
travesty.
didn't, I wouldn't want him to. I wouldn't want him to do anything.
Green Room, that's what it was.
Oh yeah, I heard that was really good. I never did see that.
Yeah, somebody said that was the best he ever was. So I definitely got to see Green Room.
I did hear that was.
Odd
He was in
Thomas.
Fright Night. Like Crazy was awesome.
Odd Thomas
Crazy
was awesome.
I didn't see Odd Thomas.
You guys, it's on Netflix. You guys should definitely fucking watch
I
the ending. Dude, the ending of Odd Thomas.
I forgot he was
so
in
good.
Terminator Salvation.
Terminator. Oh my gosh.
He's in so much shit. Holy shit.
I love Terminator Salvation.
That's what a shame. That really sucks.
But Charlie Bartlett.
I'm melting, so we're going to wrap this up. I forgot to say last episode to remind everybody that you can email us. Our email address is theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Write in, tell us what you think of the podcast, if you have any suggestions, things you want to hear us talk about. One thing we didn't talk about when talking about the next issue that's coming out, issue 130, is that's coming out in August. They're taking July off for some reason. There will not be a new issue in July. So in July, instead of doing a new issue discussion, we'll probably do something else we haven't really discussed or decided yet. It'll probably be, I'd like to do a tie-in series, one of the Invincible Universe kind of show.
Wolfman, Brit.
Yeah, Wolfman, Brit, Capes, anything that ties into the Invincible Universe that you think would be fun to discuss that. Either that or we'll do another In Memoriam. We've got the next issue coming up will be a new reader issue. But yeah, so email us, let us know what you think. Yeah, that's theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. We also use Twitter for, our Twitter handle is @InvincibleCast. I use that to retweet Ottley, Kirkman, any of the creators, and talking to people there too. So
Do it.
thanks again.
Write us.
Yeah.
Now.
Thanks again for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I've got another. We've had a couple people ask about the schedule of the show. We do release if you're a fairly new listener, we have been releasing every other week. That just works best for us.
Every other Friday.
Yep, every other Friday we release a new episode, and that works out. So we have one of those episodes a month is all about a new issue. So, you melting yet, guys?
It's kind of hot.
It's so hot in here.
Kind of hot.
I know.
All right. Good night.
That's not how he says it.
Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Bill.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.